we doing? We're back in, we're doing stuff and things. Because, you know, that's how it works. Okay, so we're going to move on. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do a couple of details for my level 1s on little bits in the patterns. Okay, so just things that I want you to keep an eye on if you're doing pattern practice at home during lockdown 2 of the sequel. As I keep referring to it, and I'll put a hashtag on that, I think, in all my videos, lockdown 2 the sequel. What I want you to be very, very conscious of is this, okay? When you're at home and you're doing practicing, if you've seen any of the videos that were released in the last few days or whatever, be aware of, that's the best way to put this, be aware of yourself, be aware of the way you are doing things. Okay, now this comes down to what I'm talking about in this video in particularly, but it is quite prevalent when I was talking about basics as well in the other videos previous to this. You need to really, really think about, when you're doing your practice at home, how you are practicing, okay? And what you're doing, what you're doing with your hands, what you're doing with your feet, your legs, stances, where you're looking when you're doing your stuff, okay? What I don't want people to do is, while they're practicing at home, is start getting into bad habits that we then have to get you back out of when you come back to classes, okay? Now, I'm not talking about getting patterns wrong and stuff. Things like that's actually quite easy to change, okay? It's things that become habits, okay? Habits are very difficult to change, okay? So in particular, when you do patterns and things like that, we always say you look where you're going, okay? And that goes for your basics as well, and that goes for your freestyle combinations and whatnot. But as an example, I'm gonna stand sideways. I know it's a bit weird, but I'm gonna stand sideways and do the first 2 moves of Chonji, okay? Which are 1, 2, okay? You start in your Chumbi, you go to your left, I know it's mirrored, okay? Okay? In classes, you look where you are going, okay? So again, I'll go from the sides because it will make more sense, okay? But my Chumbi here, I am looking that way. Everything else doesn't matter. It does not matter, okay? You've got to do your stuff kind of like a horse with blinkers, okay? Tunnel vision, okay? What is happening to your left and what is happening to your right is irrelevant. Yes, you must listen to the instructor, whether it's me or whether it's one of the other instructors around Matrix. We get it, okay? But if that instructor is walking around because they're checking on what you're doing, you can't follow them around the room. Yeah, while you're in your Chumbi, while you're in your Chariot, while you're doing your patterns and stuff, okay? Where the instructor is and what they're saying, okay, is not something that you follow, okay? Listen, yes, use your ears, that's why you have them on the side of your head, okay? But you don't need to, like that, when you're doing your stuff, okay? If you're in like a relaxed position and you're waiting and you're listening, or you're in one of the huddles, when we're allowed to do those, yeah, that's different, okay? But if you're in Chariot, if you're in Chumbi, if you're doing your patterns, if you're doing your basics, okay? Instructors walk around, okay? They have to look at what everyone else is doing. They also might be doing it to see who's following them and who's distracted and not focused, okay? And it is important, okay? It's like, to a certain extent, especially when you're a lower grade, I always say that the eyes forward focus is like the cherry on the cake. Okay, because we want you to get your technique correct. Yeah, we want you in a good stance with a hand back and then this here and standing up straight and then looking forwards at something on the wall or staring into this piece of imaginary space in front of you, okay, without taking your gaze away from it. Okay, if I'm just, oh look, what's that? Squirrel. Yeah, I'm not focused and it ruins the technique. Okay, this could have been the best downward block on the planet. It's the best one in history ever seen by anybody. Okay, in terms of strength, power, it broke the sound barrier, sonic boom, kapoom, because it was so fast and strong, whatever. Yeah, but if you're, oh look, what are you doing? Yeah, ruins it. Okay, if something goes from best to worst. Okay, you must do the same practice at home. okay? So, this is for everyone. So I'm gonna talk some pattern details in a minute, but first things first, when you are doing your stuff, you must focus as you are going, okay? When you turn to a different direction, find something to look at, find something to stare at while you're doing your patterns, while you're doing your basics, doing your turns and stuff, okay? The irritating thing when we're in some like school halls and things like that is that the walls are kind of bare, okay? They're just painted, you know, grey or magnolia or something like that. So it means that if there's nothing of interest for you to look at, to stare at, so that your eye can focus on. Now in here it's quite useful because it's kind of, this is quite a busy room. You know, there's medals on the walls and there's plug sockets and there's standing bags here and there and stuff like that. So it means that when you turn to a new direction, you can find something that's not moving and keep your eyes on it. Okay, if the room is bare, it is a little trickier. Okay, but it also means there's less distractions. So let's say keep your eyes forward. Okay, when you're at home training, you've got to do the same. Okay, you've got to do the same. So if you're doing your Chonji, as an example, you turn to your left into your downward block, and there's a picture of Granny on the wall. Keep your eyes on Granny for them those two moves. When you spin round here, you know, and you've got, you know, Mum's flowery cushion on the sofa, fine, look at that, okay? Shoot to the front, you know, whatever's this way. Something that can hold your gaze. If it's something that's gonna move, that's not the thing you should be focusing on. If you turn around and you know, brother or sister is there, or mum or dad, or the cat, or the dog, or you know, whatever, something's going to move around and distract you, that's not the thing to be looking at. Okay, so please, as well as doing your actual technical training of your actual technical moves, okay, think about your focus, think about where you're looking, okay, pick something to stare at while you're training, so that that focus isn't lost at home, and then we have to redo it and get that back into you when we come back after lockdown, okay? So for the 3 beginning patterns that I wanted to talk about in this video in particular, as well as that detail for everybody, okay? Chonji people, please, 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 please remember, apart from middle block, in the second half of Chonji, everything else is a front stance. All of those downward blocks, front stance. All of those reverse punches to the body, lunge punches to the body, front stance. It's only these that are not these back stances. Okay, so please, please, please make sure that's the only time I ever see that stance for that middle block. Everything else you're pushing forwards into and being neat and strong and stable. Okay, it's when we start fudging stances and guessing they become messy, and we end up with middle blocks in kind of half-baked, bendy-kneed stances like this rather than that, and we end up with punches that are kind of like soft back-kneed things or turned out because we're not quite sure, because we haven't, you know, we're not concentrating. Okay, so that comes under your focus as well. Okay, so front stances for these, front stances for those, back stances for these. Okay, that's your Chonji, guys. Okay, feet, but be very, very clear cut, very clean on your stances, and know what stance goes with what move. Okay, Tangun, guys, yours is a very particular move because most of Tangun is actually easy peasy. Okay, you've got the similar problems, back stance here, front stance in punches, all that kind of stuff. But there's only 6 back stances in the pattern. It's always on the top of the eyes. Yeah, we talk about top of the eye, down the middle of the eye, turn, bottom of the eye, back up to the top. Yeah, as in the capital I, letter I, not eyeball. Okay, back stance, front stance. And in the middle, you've got these back stance, front stance, and then at the end, back stance, front stance. Yeah, that. Make sure they're correct. But it's this, and it relates to the basics videos I've been doing already. Okay, that double block, that down up. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, notice. Same as when we're talking about fold shapes. 1 up, 1 down. shoulder, counterbalance, okay? Here, bam. Then when this one comes to high block, okay? It must cover your center line. Now, you also know that when we do high blocks, we swap. We get that one up, one down, swapping mechanism. That's fine, but you cannot stop start. Okay, so you do notice that, again, a little technical difference between myself and Mr. Bigley. Okay, Mr. Bigley goes, okay, bam, bam. From here, he just comes in, up, straight up the center. 1, 2. Lovely. Okay, you do notice that I have a little bit of a re-chamber, but it doesn't stop my block. I am not going 1, 2, yeah, or technically 1, 2, 3, yeah. It just loops. Yeah, I still want that pass. Okay, it's yeah. Also, it's a hang up, but it relates to this. Okay, so I hear. Okay, comes through the center. 1, 2, yeah. 1, 2. Okay, it's just got a little push pull, but it doesn't stop. Okay, like I say, it's not like Dosan where we connect to block. Okay, I don't want it here. I don't want to be going shoulder down, weird X-Men symbol, and then high. Yeah, it's no good to me. Okay, because again, all the momentum I've got from the slow block to come up is now lost here because it's stopped. So now I've got to try and make this upper block strong. Yeah, it's all shoulder, there's nothing else in it. Okay, because any initial momentum I got from like the hip and my feet has gone. Okay, so please, Tangum people, I do not mind if it is 1, 2, again, proper fold, 1, 2, fine, drive it, okay? Or if you've got that little re-chamber like me, but please do not, yeah, be going stop, start, yeah? It's too much. There's too many pieces, okay? More pieces you have, the easier it is to break, okay? Make it solid. Okay, 1, 2, 1, 2. Looks good. Okay, happy with either, but please not this. Yeah? Especially put a breath on it. Okay? It really makes it obvious that you stop starting. Okay. 3, Tangun people. Again, you've got specific detail. Sorry, not Tangun people. Dosan people, green belts. The spin out of the spear. Okay. This is about the footwork. Okay. And I bang on about footwork a lot, but in the first half of Dosan, remember we have knife block, lovely, spear, lovely, that grip break and rotation, and then that's turning into the back fist. Okay. The bit that I'm conscious of, okay, is how people think the feet must work on the spin. Okay. Now I believe I have talked about this before, but I think it's worth reiterating because I keep catching people doing it weird. Okay. So from that spear, up, down, rotate is the same landing position as if I'd just taken a step. Okay. Now, I need to find, hang on. One bullet. Okay, so this is the deal. I would come into my spear, up, down, long spin, etc. If I take a step from here, there you go, that's a marker. I think you can see it on the screen. Yep. Okay, that is where my stance would land. Okay, if I just took a step. Now I have shuffled around a lot now, so you know, might be off. Okay, but here, spin or step. Is that, oh, I'm about right. Yeah. That is the same as that. Okay, I'm same length, same distance. Okay, what I'm not doing, okay, is me trying to make this super wide because obviously I'm spinning, I have to control my spin. Okay, it's not super long, and I can't get away with a really shallow stance. Okay, we've got to be able to measure it. Okay, so when we are coming into this spear, we've got to imagine that when you step forwards or spin this way, okay, into that back fist, that should have been the same as if we just asked you to step it. Yeah? Please, when you're doing that, you can do that same test at home. Okay? Get a little square of paper or I don't know, post-it note, whatever, okay, and measure it. Actually measure it. Say, okay, well this is where I'm starting my pattern. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, I'm going to take a step and do a back fist. Bonk. Okay, put the post-it note down. Do the step. See if they're the same. Okay, if they're within, you know, that much of each other. Yeah, so if you're a little bit left or a little bit right or just in front of, you know, you're, 3-4 inches out, fine. Okay. Because if you're on Dosan, you're a green belt. Yeah, you're still in the end of level 1. I'm not expecting perfection. Okay, it's okay. Seniors, try and squeeze that gap. But if you notice that you're a long way out, yeah, so the difference between step back fist and spin back fist are significantly different for whatever reason. Too long, too short, too far, too shallow. That's a good one. Coming around and then not turning enough. They end up kind of straight-legged or linear stance, one line, rather than that. Yeah, that's one of the ones that we need to watch out for, okay? Because if every other stance is shoulder width, okay, and we're looking lovely, and then all of a sudden we've got this one stance that's really skew whiff and wobbly, and then we're trying to correct, okay, we're suddenly offline, we do not finish the pattern where we started like we should, yeah, things like that, it will put us a long way off. So make sure that spin is just effectively another stance. You just went the wrong way round to get there, okay, wrong way, yeah, you know what I mean. Make sure your details are kept in check, please. Okay. When you're practicing at home, like I say, be conscious of what you're doing. Be conscious of the details. Yeah, it's the idea that that micro versus macro. The whole pattern has got to look good. All of your training has got to look good. But each individual teeny tiny detail, this bit here and that detail there and this detail over here, that one over there that you probably forgot about. Okay. Be accurate in your training. Think about everything that you're doing, because if you're training at home, you haven't got me standing there going backhand, tighten, thumb, front foot, back foot, lock that out, bend this knee, bring it in a bit. Yeah, you haven't got that all the time if you're training at home. So be conscious of what you are doing. And like I said in one of the previous videos, set up a phone, set up a tablet. Get mum or dad to do a quick video. Do it in front of a mirror. Okay? If you have that lovely option, which most of us do these days, so that you can either see yourself or watch something back of you doing your patterns and your basics. Okay? You can go, oh, that's why he tells me every week about this backhand, because it's in the wrong place every week and I'm not changing it when I'm being told. Yeah? Okay. Keep an eye out for the details, keep training, okay? But like I say, while you're training at home, you're doing syllabus stuff, be conscious of the little details. Yeah? Those little details are the things we pick up at formal tests in level 2 and level 3. Okay? The less of those little details that we spot that are incorrect, the easier it is for us to grade you and let you progress. Okay? Have fun, enjoy. Keep training.